situation that is really interesting, and we're going to talk about it. So the post goes like this: inspection day for my clients. Yay. So his clients have purchased or put a house under contract, and they are going to the house for inspections. Okay. It's an exciting day, getting you one step closer to calling that house you loved home. Then we get to the house. Water has been turned off for non-payment. Um, so he just goes on about what's happening here. So how do we handle this as agents? Because my job is to a lot of times to try to see around corners. Okay. And it's not always that easy to do. But one of the things that comes up is we have speed bumps like this. What happens when this occurs? So, number one, we have to go back to the contract. The contract supersedes all in this transaction. And I have to go back and see what the contract says. And this is a North Carolina transaction. And our North Carolina contract says that it is the seller's obligation to keep utilities on through the transaction unless there's an issue. And sometimes we run across that with foreclosures. There's a few things that might pop up where we don't have utilities on, but it's very, very rare. And in going to the home inspection, or let's do this. Let's say we get to the home inspection and we go to walk through the day of. What does the contract say about utilities? And the contract says that the utilities are to stay on. So as an agent, and this has happened before to me, what do we do and how do we handle this? Do we reschedule the inspection? Do we have a reinspect? So how I would probably handle this, and obviously I have to talk to my clients about it, but how I would handle this is I would say to the clients, do you want to continue with this home inspection, or do you want to just scrap it and let's reinspect or do another inspection when the water's on? Or we could have most of the home inspection done and have the inspector come out for a reinspection, in which, in my opinion, we're here. Let's get the majority of it done, and then let's get the second piece of it finished, because you want to make sure that there's not an issue with the water. Now, this is a non-payment issue, so I'm expecting this to work out where the bill is paid and then we move on. But sometimes the bill can't get paid. So how do we handle this? For me, I would go back to the listing agent, have a conversation, a friendly one, but have a conversation about, okay, look, we got a problem. There's no water on. There's a red sticker on the meter that says the water was turned off for no non-payment. Is the seller able to pay this and get this back on? If so, how quickly? And then I'm going to request the seller pay the inspector to go back out, because this was not the fault of the buyer. The buyer scheduled this home inspection in advance. Everybody knew about it. And it is my obligation as a buyer agent to make sure that my clients aren't paying for things that they didn't cause. So go back, get it negotiated out, get it in writing, get everybody to sign it that the seller will pay for X. I also have had to pay the home inspector myself and get reimbursed by the seller at closing. So we work it out. But the thing about it is this: don't freak out about it. Things happen. We know things happen. I've had some crazy things happen in my life. I mean, I've gone to a walkthrough where we didn't have any power, gas, water, because the seller decided to turn the power off the day of closing. I've had a situation where I went for the walkthrough and the seller was still living in the house. the day of closing. How do we navigate through this? And this is the test of a good agent. A good agent is able to navigate this in a way that is respectful, but also making sure that we are representing our clients to the best of our abilities. And it would be on my shoulders to negotiate that return trip for the inspector to be negotiated and paid by the seller. It is not my client, the buyer's responsibility. So I wanted to talk about that just a little bit this morning because crazy things happen. And, it's really not about keeping things from happening in a real estate transaction because stuff is going to happen. Where my worth comes in is how do we navigate through this? How do we negotiate it? How do we intelligently think through this to make sure that we're not missing anything else. I'll make sure we keep, if the water gets paid to be brought back on, I need to make sure that the power bill is going to get paid and the gas bill if it's appropriate so that we can have all of those utilities on at closing so that we don't have to do this again. Because I've had several situations where my client, hey, we can't do the walkthrough because there's no utilities on. So need to make sure that, power works, water works, gas works. So we're going to go ahead and sign everything, but nothing is going to get recorded and money is not going to get transferred until we can confirm that all the utilities are back on and everything is working appropriately. So, there's a bunch of different ways to handle this, but this is something that does come up. It's uncommon, but I can't tell you it's the rarest thing I've ever dealt with. I've dealt with some rare stuff. I had a house a couple of years ago I sold almost 2 years ago to some clients that had a shed in the backyard. And it turns out that the shed had been purchased as one of those like rent to own. So you pay on it monthly until you pay off the bill. And after closing, the seller, who did not disclose that he did not 100% own that shed, nor did he disclose that he wasn't going to pay for it any longer, he stopped paying on it and the shed was repossessed in the backyard of my client's house. So things happen. You just roll with the punches and move forward the best that you can. But that is something that we have dealt with from time to time. Every now and then something comes up with utilities. So today I want to talk a little bit about a study that the National Association of Realtors, NAR, did. And they ran this study from July 2023 to June 2024. They didn't run the study. They did it last year, but the study was for primary residence purchasers between 2023 and 2024. And they found a few things out. So only 24% of home buyers surveyed by the National Association of Realtors said they were purchasing a home for the first time. That's a huge drop, substantial drop from 32% who said the same the year prior. Now, no surprise here. Baby boomers were the largest group of home buyers last year, making up 42% of all home buyers. Okay, that's not a surprise. Baby boomers are the ones that hold the most amount of residential home wealth in this country. Many of them have been in their homes for a long time, and their homes have significantly appreciated over the past 20, 30 years. And so it's not a shock. I sold a house just last week to someone who is moving here from Chicago, who's downsizing, and that was a cash purchase. And it's not unusual for that demographic. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. We know that first-time home ownership is down, and I do hope that we can kind of figure out a way to work through that. And I'm going to talk about something else today that might help that. But here's the thing. Multi-generational home ownership has reached an all-time high. Also, not a big shocker. We have a large population of baby boomers. that are aging. And so multi-generational housing has become more popular. And right now, 17% of all purchases are multi-generational homes or home purchases. Okay. So chief reason for that is cost savings. 36% of all buyers who purchased multi-generational homes said that cost savings was their biggest driver. 21% attributed the decision to children and relatives older than 18 moving back in the home. Also, not a shocker. Another piece of that was also healthcare situations. Having parents in their 80s, it is certainly something that I have considered, because let's face it, my parents are not moving out of their house anytime soon. But I know that having parents in their 80s, they just need a little more help and a little bit more assistance. So that is something that I thought was really, really interesting. Um, Also, we do have, I mean, let's just face it, multi-generational housing is also more prevalent among immigrant households. It does allow them to purchase, and they're like their money goes further. So that's really a big piece of it because of the affordability factor. Let's just say this like it is. Affordability with our housing has become a serious issue. You know, if you think about Monday when I talked about the average sales price for a home in the Charlotte metro region, it's over $500,000. And, you know, our average income is, I believe, somewhere between $60,000 and $70,000. So there is a massive difference between our average yearly income and the average home price. And that's not going down. The cost of homes has become more expensive to build and to maintain. And I just don't see that pricing changing anytime. And I do have people that from time to time will say to me, I'm waiting for a market crash to buy a house. I, I just don't see that happening. So how do families get around it? They buy homes together. They have multi-generational households. Okay. And so I this is sort of a segue into another conversation I wanted to have. And every week I'm going to talk about a place that I think is really interesting that is either in our metro region or kind of right outside of it. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. I hope you can. I hope you're having had all of the coffee you need today. Clearly, I have not. But I have sold a few homes recently in it's a different MLS, but it is a part of the state or South Carolina that I think that if you work from home or you don't have to be in the metro region, Charlotte, wherever to work every day, I really think that you should consider if you're looking for a place to live that's a little bit more affordable. I think you should take a look at it. And where I think is important is a part of South Carolina that I have grown to love. A lot of which is because my daughter goes to school in at the University of South Carolina in Columbia. Okay. So here's what I'm looking at. So I have sold some homes in a little town called Hartsville. And I grew up in southeastern North Carolina. So I've always known about Hartsville, but I haven't been to Hartsville in a long time. And I have some clients that have moved here from Florida and they landed in Hartsville and they wanted me to show them homes there. And so I have. I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with my mouse today. User error. But here's the thing. Hartsville is it's consider thinking about whoever you ask, it's somewhere between 6 and 8,000 residents in the town. I was extremely surprised by the just the great things I've seen in this town. The downtown area is beautiful. It is well thought out. There are some great restaurants in town. There are some great shops. There are boutiques, more boutiques than I've seen in a town this size in a long time. There is a college there. There is the school, South Carolina School of Math and Science is there. And I want to encourage you to take a look at Hartsville. Okay. The downtown, like I said, is really cute. There's a lot of events going on. And more importantly, housing is a bit more affordable in Hartsville. I have I've been showing some houses in the 2 to 3 and 3 to 400 range, and I think you ought to take a look at what I've got. Okay. So this is a house that I have not shown this house, but I've been watching it. It's been on the market for about 91 days. The market's a little bit slower there. But this is a house that was built in '01. It's on 4.13 acres. It's 3,700 square feet, and it's listed right now for $499,900. Okay. This house sits on a good piece of property. I think is in pretty good condition. A lot of homes over here are might be a little bit more dated, but if the bones are good, it's really important. And I just think this is a great house for the money. Another house that I have been stalking is this little 1,850 square foot house in town on College Street in Hartsville. And it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, or 3, 2.5. I'm not sure, but it's $314,900. It's been on the market, I think, about 30 days. And I just think this house is cute as a button. And I am always a fan of any homes that have plantation shutters inside. But this is an older home that's been renovated. It has great, great features. And frankly, I am so tempted to go take a look at this house for myself. I just love going to Hartsville. And I think this house is just adorable. And there is no way you could find a house like this in the metro region in Charlotte for $314,000. Okay. So this is a house that I mean, I'm going to hate to see it when it's sold because it's so adorable, but it is a spectacular house. And then this also is a beautiful home and another one that I've kind of been stalking. It's a 4.3, 3,200 square foot house on a 0.65 acre lot in town. It's listed for $449,500. It's been on the market a little over 30 days. And again, I think this house has absolutely great bones. It has just has pretty features. I'm seeing still a lot of houses in Hartsville with the original tile when the house was built, which I don't mind if it's in great shape. I've seen some funky tile in Hartsville, I will tell you. But I think the kitchen is really pretty. And this house just has beautiful features. I think it's decorated well, so it shows well. But you can tell that this home has been taken care of. The yard's beautiful. The house has been photographed beautifully. And again, some cool tile in this house. But here's the point that I'm trying to make, and I hope that you will listen to me. If you work from home some, if you don't have to be in Charlotte every day of the week, if you are a remote worker and you're looking for a place to live that's more affordable, I'm telling you to take a look at Hartsville. You can give me a call. I'll give you a tour. I love driving down there. I live in Monroe, and it takes me about an hour and 10 minutes. It's not a bad drive. It's actually a very easy drive. And it's pretty much 4-lane roads the entire way from Monroe. And taxes are cheaper. The cost of living is cheaper. And I have just been very, very, very impressed with this town. So if you want to take a look, I'll be happy to show you. I've got to go there this weekend and show some homes. And I think that you would be very, very happy to at least visit a town like Hartsville. They do have a great spa there. There's a couple of great hotels right close to downtown. It's pretty walkable. And like I said, there's a couple of good restaurants. And I've just been impressed with it. They've done a great job of city planning. And if you want to find out some more information, I think their mainstreethartsville.org website is pretty spectacular. Um, and I have seriously considered moving there because I love that town so much. I will talk about other towns in the metro region. I just wanted to talk about that one today because I have been incredibly impressed, if you can't tell, with the town and the feel of the town, and the I am absolutely interested in the real estate there, and I have been very, very impressed with everything I've seen there. So if you're looking for a place to live a little bit out, want to get back to town when you need to, but looking for a little bit more of an affordable place to live, and you can do some remote work, would seriously consider looking at Hartsville. And let's face it, you're a little bit closer to Charleston, which I think we all want to be closer to. But anyway, that's my little spiel about towns around here or a little bit out. I just love the place, and I look forward to going there Saturday afternoon and showing some houses. So I think that's going to be it for today. I hope you have a wonderful hump day. Think about that Geico commercial with the camel, and happy hump day. I hope you have a terrific day. And if you have any questions, send me a message. 704-617-0847 is my cell. And I am here to answer any questions you have about the real estate market, what's going on in real estate in the Charlotte metro region. You can sign up for my newsletter at CLTMetrobuzz.com, charlottemetrobuzz.com, and let me know. Subscribe to this channel. We're going to be here every day, 9:30, Monday through Friday. Had a little remote show yesterday in my car because I had to go to a closing, and that was not fun, but we got through it. But I'm here every day, and I hope to see you soon. Give me a call if you have any questions, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.